On the day Daniel married Bella, even the sun seemed unsure whether to shine or hide behind the clouds. The church was full, filled with music, laughter, and colors brighter than hope itself. The choir sang beautifully, guests clapped and smiled, but something in the air felt off. It was as if joy itself was holding its breath. In the middle of the crowd sat Mama Daniel, short, fair, strong, and with eyes that told 1,000 untold stories. She had raised her son alone after her husband's death, selling food by the roadside, sewing torn clothes, and doing whatever it took to keep her boy alive and comfortable. Daniel was her everything, her pride, her heartbeat, her story of survival. She often said, "If I lose Daniel, I lose my reason for breathing." And she meant it. So when Bella came into the picture, Mama Daniel didn't see a blessing. She saw a thief. From the first moment she met her, her spirit whispered, "This girl wants to steal your son." And that whisper soon became a mission. At the wedding reception, laughter filled the hall. Everyone expected Mama Daniel to hug the couple, smile for a few photos, and let the newlyweds shine. But instead, she walked right up to their table and refused to leave. With a proud smile, she told the MC, "Call me a co-celebrant. After all, without me, there would be no groom." The guests laughed, thinking it was a joke. But Bella's smile faded, and she turned to her new husband, hoping for support. Daniel only smiled shyly and whispered, "Just allow her. You know my mom." Then came the moment for photographs. The photographer said, "Bride and groom, hold hands and look into each other's eyes." Before they could move, Mama Daniel stepped in and declared, "Take one with me first." Laughter again filled the room, but in Bella's chest something tightened. That day she couldn't explain it, but deep down she knew. Her wedding was not the beginning of joy. It was the beginning of a storm. After the wedding, Daniel and Bella moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. Bella decorated it with nude curtains and soft blue cushions, her dream colors. She hung their wedding photo on the wall, the one where Daniel whispered something sweet that made her blush. Finally she felt at peace. Or so she thought. 2 days after their honeymoon, the phone rang. It was Mama Daniel. Her voice trembled. "My spirit is restless. I miss you too." Daniel tried to calm her down, but before evening fell, a knock sounded at their gate. There she was, Mama Daniel, holding a small bag. "I only came for a few days," she said. Bella smiled, welcoming her in with open arms. She cooked pepper soup, fluffed pillows, and told herself, "Peace begins with kindness." But those few days turned into forever. By the second week, Mama Daniel had rearranged the kitchen, thrown away Bella's spice containers, and muttered, "This one smells like rat poison." By the third week, she moved her things into the guest room and introduced herself to visitors as the landlord's mother. She controlled the rhythm of the house, waking before everyone, knocking at their door each morning. "Have you prayed?" she would ask. If she didn't hear their voices, she'd open the door, sit on their bed, and declare, "A marriage that starts without morning devotion will end in confusion." She watched Bella cook and scolded loudly. "Too much salt. You want to raise my son's blood pressure. You want to kill him before me." And when Daniel tried to defend his wife, Mama Daniel sighed dramatically. "Ah, see how you now talk to your mother because of a woman. I knew this day would come." Daniel fell silent, torn between guilt and love. He loved Bella deeply, but he also loved his mother. He thought it was just a misunderstanding that time would fix. But for Mama Daniel, it wasn't misunderstanding. It was war. Each evening, Bella sat by the window, watching the sun set behind the rooftops, wondering how something so beautiful could fade into such chaos. She whispered prayers under her breath. "God, please give me wisdom. I don't want to lose peace in my home." From the outside, their home looked perfect. Neighbors pointed and said, "Lord, give me this kind of home." The compound was neat. Flowers bloomed at the gate. The smell of stew drifted through the air. But inside, it was no home. It was a battlefield. Mama Daniel was the commander-in-chief. She inspected the laundry, criticized the cooking, and followed Bella like a shadow. And sometimes, just to prove a point, she would pour away a pot of soup. "I told you not to use crayfish last time. You've wasted my son's money again." First, Bella laughed it off. She told her friends, "My mother-in-law just has a strong personality." But deep down she knew the truth. This wasn't strength. It was control. And if something didn't change soon, her marriage would pay the price. Every night, Bella would turn to her side of the bed, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly above her, wondering when marriage started to feel like a trap. She remembered the laughter they once shared, the promises whispered in the dark. But now, the silence between them spoke louder than words. Meanwhile, Daniel was drowning, and he didn't even know it. His mother, Mama Daniel, had mastered the ancient art of guilt. She would wait until Bella left the room, then sigh deeply and say, "My son, you've changed. You don't even ask if I've eaten anymore. Before that girl came, you used to bring me breakfast in bed." And Daniel, moved by guilt, would rush to make her tea while she smiled secretly to herself, victory quietly glimmering in her eyes. Slowly, Daniel began to see Bella through his mother's eyes. Every mistake she made became proof of something darker. If she forgot to add salt, Mama Daniel would whisper, "It's because she doesn't love you." If she was quiet, "She's plotting something evil." One afternoon Bella served lunch. Mama Daniel took a spoonful of rice, dropped it immediately, and hissed, "Him. The salt is too much. You want my blood pressure to rise so you can control this house." Bella swallowed hard. "Mama, I'm sorry. Maybe I added too much by accident." "Accident?" Mama snapped, slamming her spoon down. "Poison is now accident. You girls of nowadays have no respect. You want to take my son away from me. But it will not work." Daniel, just returning from work, heard the shouting and rushed in. But instead of calming things down, he turned to Bella. "Why can't you just be patient? Must you always talk back?" Bella froze. I didn't talk back, I just..." "Enough," he cut her off. That was the first time Daniel ever raised his voice at her. That night, Bella cried quietly in the bathroom, pressing her hand to her mouth so no one would hear. She wasn't crying because of the shouting, no. She cried because she realized her husband was slipping away. And she didn't know how to pull him back. A few days later, she called her mother. Her mother, calm but old-fashioned, said softly, "My daughter, don't fight your mother-in-law. Be patient. One day, she'll get tired and leave." Bella tried to believe that. She really did. One Saturday morning, she decided to surprise Daniel. She made his favorite, bitter leaf soup with pounded yam. Hours in the kitchen, sweat on her forehead, hope in her heart. When Daniel sat down, he smiled for the first time in weeks. "This looks good," he said, taking the first spoonful. Bella's heart fluttered. Maybe things were healing. But before he could take another bite, Mama Daniel suddenly coughed loudly. "Wait. Daniel, don't eat that." The room froze. "Why, Mama?" Daniel asked. "I saw her put something in the pot when she thought I wasn't looking. She wants to charm you." Bella gasped. "Mama, what?" "I only added seasoning cubes." "Seasoning cubes?" Mama shouted. "So seasoning cubes are now powder? I saw you open something from a nylon. You want to turn my son into a fool." Daniel's face tightened. He stood, staring at his wife. "Bella, what is she talking about?" Tears welled in Bella's eyes. "I swear I didn't do anything, Daniel. I love you." But Mama Daniel clutched her chest and wailed. "This is how my enemies want to destroy me. I told you this girl has the spirit of Jezebel." The more Bella tried to explain, the guiltier she sounded. Daniel, embarrassed and overwhelmed, walked out. He didn't even finish his meal. That night, silence ruled the house. Daniel slept with his back turned. Mama Daniel stayed up, pretending to watch TV, while Bella cried quietly into her pillow. Days turned into weeks. Mama Daniel began acting like the true landlady of the house. She locked the kitchen when she went out, claiming she didn't want strange hands touching her son's food. She even started washing Daniel's clothes again, smiling proudly as she folded them on the bed while Bella sat in silence. Once, when Bella reached for her husband's shirt, Mama Daniel slapped her hand away. "Leave it alone. You'll stain it with your evil." Daniel said nothing. He just wore the shirt as though nothing happened. That night, Bella tried to talk, but he sighed and said, "Please, Bella, I'm tired of complaints. You're always talking about my mother. Just endure, she won't live here forever." But she did live there. And for 3 long weeks after the charm in the soup drama, nothing changed. Bella barely spoke. Daniel wouldn't eat her food. Mama Daniel moved around like a saint, pretending she was saving her son from a wicked wife. At night, Bella would hear their whispers from the living room. "Mama, I don't know what to do anymore," Daniel would say. "There's nothing to do," Mama would reply, her voice sharp with poison. "I told you, not all women are wives. A woman who can't submit to her husband's mother cannot keep a home." Bella prayed, waited, endured. But the more she tried, the more she became the enemy. Then strange things began to happen. One morning, her wedding ring disappeared. She searched everywhere, the bedside table, the bathroom, even under the bed. Nothing. When she asked Mama Daniel, the woman chuckled and said, "Maybe the ring ran away. Things don't stay where there's no peace." The next day, Bella found it, buried deep inside a bag of rice in the kitchen. She froze, staring at it for a long time. Was someone trying to drive her crazy? Or was the house itself haunted by the hatred that now lived there? That evening, she told Daniel what she'd found, hoping he'd hold her hand. Believe her. Protect her. Instead, he frowned. "Bella, please stop these dramatic stories. You're beginning to sound like Mama was right." And just like that, Bella realized. She wasn't just fighting for her marriage anymore. She was fighting for her sanity. A week later, the tension in the house reached a new level. Mama Daniel's voice pierced through the quiet afternoon. "She took my money," she accused. Her words were sharp, accusing, leaving no room for denial. 80,000 naira. Gone from the wrapper Bella had carefully hidden. "I didn't take the money, Mama." Bella cried, her voice trembling. Mama Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Then who took it?" "Daniel doesn't touch my things." Maybe it's the same hand that put witchcraft in the soup that took my money," she said, her words dripping with venom. Before Bella could respond, Daniel's voice cut through the tension like a blade. "Enough. Both of you should stop this nonsense." But he didn't glance at his mother. His eyes were fixed on Bella. And in that instant, Bella realized the harsh truth. She had already been judged, long before any trial could take place. 2 days later, a soft knock on her door. It was Mrs. Grace, the neighbor from the next flat. Her expression was grave. "My daughter, be careful," she whispered. "I don't like what I hear. Yesterday, I overheard your mother-in-law telling another woman that you're trying to take her son's inheritance. She even said she'll break the spiritual curse you came with." Bella froze, disbelief locking her in place. "She said what?" Mrs. Grace nodded slowly. "You didn't hear this from me," she cautioned. "But that woman doesn't wish you peace. Open your eyes." That evening, Bella returned from her shop, the streets quiet and empty. Inside, the familiar scent of incense hit her before she even entered. Mama Daniel moved around the sitting room, a metal tray in hand, smoke curling into the air like restless spirits. "Mama, what are you doing?" Bella asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Without looking up, Mama Daniel replied, "Prayers for cleansing. Evil spirits are in this house." "Evil spirits?" Bella echoed, heart pounding. "Yes, since you entered, everything has changed. My son used to smile. Now he frowns constantly. My body used to be strong. Now I fall sick often. Tell me, who brought this bad luck?" Bella's legs felt frozen to the floor. "Are you calling me evil?" Mama Daniel's smile was icy, sharp. If the shoe fits, my daughter, wear it. That night, Bella lay awake, the heavy incense clinging to her senses. Footsteps echoed in the corridor. Shadows moved where no one should be. It was as if the very walls of the house were conspiring against her. Days later, while cleaning the guest room wardrobe, her hand brushed against something unusual. A small brown envelope, old and dusty, hidden among the clothes. Inside, a folded document, brittle with age. A death certificate. The name Peter. And in the father's name section, Father to Daniel Peter. Bella's heart skipped. The man Mama Daniel had always spoken of with sorrow. Her late husband Richard. Yet here was another name. Fear curled around her chest as she slipped the paper into her bag. She didn't understand it yet. But she felt it. Whatever secret this was, it was dangerous. That evening, Mama Daniel's voice echoed, sharp and commanding. Who entered my wardrobe? Who touched my things? Bella said nothing. She pretended not to hear. Later, the house silent and dark, Bella crept to the balcony to think. And then she heard it. Mama Daniel's voice, low and urgent, coming from the sitting room. Yes, I found the file open. Think she saw it? No, she doesn't know yet. But if she talks, everything will scatter. Just make sure she doesn't conceive until I say so. I will handle her from here. Bella's knees weakened. She pressed her hands to her mouth. Conceive. Handle her. The words froze her blood. It hit her then. This wasn't just jealousy. This was deliberate. Dangerous. Her mother-in-law was hiding something. Something that could destroy her marriage entirely. The next morning, Mama Daniel moved through the house as if nothing had happened. But when their eyes met, Bella saw it. Fear, malice. A flicker of something darker. She wanted to confront her, to scream for answers. But she stopped herself. She needed proof. She had to be careful. Later at her shop, Bella sat staring at the brown envelope. The death certificate felt like a key to a forbidden door. Who was Peter? Why was he listed as Daniel's father when Mama Daniel had always claimed her husband's name was Richard? By morning, Bella's mind would not rest. She needed answers. She took a bus to the local registry, the document clutched tightly in her hand. The clerk, an elderly man with gray hair, adjusted his glasses as he studied the paper. This man. Peter, he said slowly. He died in 1979. No known wife. No known children. Bella's heart dropped. Are you sure? What about his family? The record says his wife died before him. There's no mention of a child, the clerk replied. Bella's mind spun. 1989. That was 2 years before Daniel was born. Her head pounded. Nothing made sense. If Peter died before Daniel was born, how could he be listed as his father? A mistake. Or a carefully hidden secret. That evening she returned home. Mama Daniel sat on the balcony, fanning herself lazily, the night breeze brushing her face. Their eyes met. Her smile was tight, forced. Welcome, my daughter, Mama Daniel said smoothly. How was work? Bella forced a smile. Fine, Mama. Just fine. But when Daniel returned, she could no longer hold it in. She told him everything. The document, the dates, what the registry man had said. Daniel's frown deepened. What are you implying, Bella? That my mother lied to me. I'm not implying anything, Bella said carefully. I'm just saying, the dates don't add up. The man on the certificate. He died before you were born. Daniel stood abruptly. Maybe it's a different Peter. And why are you digging into things that don't concern you? Bella shook her head, pain etched on her face. Because your mother has turned my life into a nightmare. I need to know what she's hiding. Then Mama Daniel's voice cut through the door. So this is what you do now, ganging up against me over documents that don't concern you. Daniel turned sharply. Mama, you heard. Yes, I heard everything, she said coldly. You see why I warned you this woman would destroy you. She's now investigating me. What kind of wife spies on her own mother-in-law? Bella opened her mouth to reply, but Mama Daniel raised a hand. Don't say a word. You have no idea what you're playing with. The room fell silent. The tension, it was suffocating, thick enough to choke. And Bella knew, with a sinking certainty, that this house held secrets far darker than she had ever imagined. That night, Daniel didn't speak to either of them. He chose to sleep in the sitting room, leaving Bella and Mama Daniel alone with their thoughts. But Bella couldn't sleep. Something in her gut told her that the truth she had uncovered was far bigger than she could imagine. Shadows danced across the walls as her mind replayed every detail of the certificate, every whispered secret. By morning, she knew she had to act. She decided to visit an old family friend, Mrs. Grace, a woman who had known Mama Daniel since their village days. When Bella arrived, Mrs. Grace hesitated, studying her carefully. But when Bella revealed the certificate, the woman's shoulders slumped, and she let out a long, weary sigh. "My daughter, it is not your fault that you stumbled on this," Mrs. Grace said softly. "The truth is, Daniel was not born to Mama Daniel. She adopted him secretly after her husband's death. Peter was her real husband. They had no child. She left immediately after he died, and 2 years later, she returned with a baby boy. People assumed she had taken him in before her husband died, but some of us knew the truth." Bella felt her knees weaken. Her voice caught in her throat. Mrs. Grace shook her head slowly. No, she never told him. She was afraid. Afraid people would call her barren. Afraid that her son would never respect her if he knew she hadn't given birth to him. So she raised him with lies. That's why she can't let him go. She's terrified of losing him, not just as a son but as her only identity. Bella's lips trembled. Oh my God! When she returned home, Mama Daniel sat alone in the sitting room, Bible open, eyes scanning the pages. Bella approached cautiously. "Mama, I know everything," she said. The old woman froze. Slowly, her eyes lifted. "What did you say?" "I know Daniel isn't your biological son," Bella continued. "I know you adopted him after your husband's death. You've lived in fear for years, but you don't have to anymore. He will still love you." For a moment, Mama Daniel's face turned pale. Then, a bitter laugh escaped her, a laugh that sounded like pain hiding behind a mask. "So, you went digging. You think you know everything now," she said coldly. "You think love is that simple. You think he will still love me after I built his life on a lie." "Mama, you did what you thought was right at the time," Bella said gently. "But this lie, it's destroying everyone now. Please, let's tell him the truth." "Never!" Mama Daniel snapped, slamming the Bible shut. "He is all I have. If he finds out, he will leave me. He will never forgive me. I would rather die than lose him." Unknown to them, Daniel had returned from work and stood quietly at the doorway. Every word had reached his ears. "Mama!" She froze, slowly turning. Their eyes met, and for the first time in his life, Daniel saw fear in his mother's face. You heard," she stammered. Daniel nodded. "All of it." The silence that followed was heavier than any shouting, more suffocating than any anger. Bella quietly stepped aside, giving them space. Daniel moved closer, fighting to keep the tears from falling. "Mama, is it true?" His mother's lips trembled. I did it for love, Daniel. I couldn't bear to live without a child. I saw you at that orphanage, so small, crying. I said to myself, this one will be mine forever. I named you after my husband's family name so it would feel real." Her chest rose and fell as though each breath was a struggle. "You should have told me sooner," Daniel whispered, tears streaming down his face. "I wanted to so many times," she admitted. "But every time I looked at you, fear shut my mouth. You were the only good thing I had left." Daniel stepped back slowly, shaking his head. "So all these years, all those times you said I was your child, you didn't just lie to me. You built my whole life on a story that never existed." He turned and walked away, while Mama Daniel collapsed onto the couch, crying like a child. That night Daniel did not sleep. He sat in the darkness until morning, staring into the empty room, while Bella watched him from the window. Her heart broke for both of them, a mother who lied out of fear, and a son who lost his truth overnight. For days, the house remained painfully silent. No arguments, no gossip, just a heavy, suffocating quiet. Mama Daniel stayed mostly in her room and refused to eat. Daniel went to work but returned late and mute. Bella moved like a quiet breeze between them, careful not to disturb the fragile balance. One morning, she found Daniel at the dining table, staring at an old family photo. His face was etched with heartbreak. Summoning courage, Bella sat beside him. "You should talk to her, Daniel. She's broken." He did not look up. "I know," Bella continued gently. "But forgiveness. It's not just for her. It's for you too. She did you wrong, yes, but it came from fear, not wickedness." Daniel buried his face in his hands. "I don't even know who I am anymore." Bella placed a hand on his shoulder. "You are still the same man. The same man she raised. The same man I married. Blood doesn't make love. Choices do." That afternoon, Daniel finally went to his mother's room. Mama Daniel sat on her bed, Bible open but unread. When she saw him, she wiped her tears quickly and tried to smile. "Mama," Daniel began. "Yes, my son," she answered softly. "You made a mistake, but you are still my mother. I may not be from your womb, but I came from your love, and I forgive you." Mama Daniel broke down completely, clutching his hands. "Thank you, my child, thank you." From that day everything changed. Bella and Daniel spent more time together. Mama Daniel stopped interfering, and even began attending women's fellowship at church. A few months later, Bella discovered she was pregnant. Tears streamed down her face as she told Daniel, who hugged her tightly. "This house will finally hear laughter again. Thank you, God," she whispered. When they shared the news with Mama Daniel, she too wept, and Bella held her close. "Mama, God is giving you a second chance to love without fear." Months later, Bella gave birth to a healthy baby boy. That day, Daniel placed the newborn in his mother's arms. She stared at the tiny face and smiled. "He looks like you," Daniel said softly. "Yes," Mama Daniel whispered. "We will name him Jonah Daniels, because peace has finally come home." Tears streamed down her face. "If only I knew that love was strong enough to survive truth. I wouldn't have hidden it for so long." I hope you enjoyed the story. Leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories, and comment below to share your thoughts. See you in the next video.